stream that we're doing every week is, of course, a very special live stream. But in this particular week, we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of the completion of Pass the Mic, which was my debut album, appropriately enough. This is an album. It's interesting because I love this album, but I also recognize that I have definitely grown as a songwriter since its release, since I wrote it and all of that. But it's really fun to be able to look back on everything there and really just kind of reflect on where I was, what inspired those songs, and really just kind of the ins and outs of the album, which I try to do anyway. I try to give you the backstory behind all of my songs, but this one, especially since I'm a little bit disconnected from it, as, like it has nothing to do with a relationship or anything like that, then it's fun to be able to dive in there. One interesting thing, I know I've talked about this when I've been doing live streams in the past, that my set list tends to grow as my musical tastes do, as I hear new songs that it fit certain things. And so basically this whole album is about either me trying to get a record deal or people who already have that I really admire. And that is not an all-inclusive list. I think I referenced Bob Dylan in one of my songs, but none of the songs were explicitly inspired by songs of his, although my storytelling and all of that, that it developed a little bit more, but you can hopefully see a little bit of that storytelling influence here, and then it just gets better or worse depending on your perspective throughout the years. So this first song that I'm going to play actually replaced another one I had for a long time. This song called "Stars Tonight" by Lady Antebellum on this album. And then they turned out to be extremely racist, and so I don't want to support playing their music anymore. And so I haven't heard anything explicitly bad about Jake Owen, so I'm going to play one of his songs. And this is a song that my friend Renee Rainey, former coworker of mine too, played for me in her car one time and said, "Oh, you got to hear this song. It's my new favorite song. It's just the greatest." And it really fit with the Pass the Mic theme and everything. And now fits with my life down in Memphis of just kind of being small town famous. So this is a song called "Go Down to the called "Down to the Honky Tonk," and I hope you enjoy it. Got a house down a back road, got a flag on my front porch, got a dog named Waylon, need a driveway that needs paving, got a boat with a two-stroke, a couple guaranteed to make you laugh jokes. I got friends in low places, yeah, life is what you make it. I might not end up in the Hall of Fame with a star on the sidewalk with my name, or a statue in my hometown when I'm gone. Nobody gonna name their babies after me. I might not go down in history, but I go down to the honky tonk. I got a girl named Sheila, she goes batshit on tequila. Got a job, it gets the job done. Got the loan at the bank, it's a big one. The only place you might see my name is on the wall for a good time call. I'm a local legend on a Friday night in a pet blue ribbon neon light. I might not end up in the Hall of Fame with a star on the sidewalk with my name, or a statue in my hometown when I'm gone. Nobody gonna name their babies after me. I might not go down in history, but I go down to the honky tonk. I go down to the honky tonk. I go down to the honky tonk. I go down. I go down to the honky tonk. I go down to the honky tonk. I go down to the honky tonk. I go down. I go down to the honky tonk. I might not end up in the Hall of Fame with a star on the sidewalk with my name, or a statue in my hometown when I'm gone. Nobody gonna name their babies after me. I might not go down in history, but I go down to the honky tonk. I might not end up in the Hall of Fame with a star on the sidewalk with my name, or a statue in my hometown when I'm gone. Nobody gonna name their babies after me. I might not go down in history, but I go down to the honky tonk. But I go down to the honky tonk. Alright, and that was Go Down to the Honky Tonk by Jake Owen. Like I said, my friend played me that song and I just loved it immediately. Became borderline obsessed with it, I guess you could say, actually. And like I said, it's a really good song, so I'm glad I discovered it. Yeah. But we are going to move on, and this next one is one that again, I added to the set this time out. By the way, I appreciate those of you who are tuning in. If you are tuning in, make sure to drop a comment on the Facebook feed, and so that I can give you a shout out, or if you don't want a shout out, just tell me you don't want a shout out. But I appreciate you guys. This album, like I said, is a pretty special one to me, because even though, like I said, I've grown as a songwriter, grown as a musician, it really is all about this journey that I started taking about 13 years ago. When I say I started writing songs a little bit more seriously. It was July of 2007, really, that I kind of started that, and I kind of marked that with my trip to Memphis and Nashville. And that you'll hear that affect some of the lyrics. But speaking of Nashville, one of my favorite country musicians, actually two of my favorite country musicians, sing this song, and this is a song called Start a Band. First of all, I want to say their version sounds a lot better. Secondly, it didn't occur to me until way too late, the irony of me playing a song called Start a Band as a solo acoustic song. So, that's just one of those things, but I'm going to play it anyway. This is Start a Band by Brad Paisley and Keith Urban. Never was a straight-laced, straight-A student, teacher's pet, child prodigy. Wasn't gonna get rich throwing a football, take too long to get a law degree. So I sat down with Mama and Daddy, they tried to talk some sense into my thick head. But the best advice that I ever got was from my sister's rock star boyfriend. Just get you a guitar and learn how to play it. Cut up some jeans, come up with a name. When you're living in a world that you don't understand, find a few good buddies, Start a band, start a band, start a band. All those girls, they were too cool to talk to. They'll be waiting in a line out back. Might get your picture in your hometown paper. Maybe buy your mama that Cadillac. Just get you a guitar and learn how to play it. Grow out your hair, come up with a name. When you're living in a world that you don't understand, find a few good buddies, start a band. Start a band, scrape up some money, buy a van. Learn Freebird and Rambling Man. Never buy another beer again. Just get you a guitar and learn how to play it. Grow out your hair, come up with a name. With a little bit of luck, you'll be packing the stands. Find a few good buddies, start a band. No need to study, start a band. Call up some buddies, man, and start a band. Alright, and that was Start a Band. Now I threw some extra songs in here, some ones that weren't on the original Pass the Mic set, but that is totally fine because it's my set, it's my show, and it's a no-nonsense show. So that is that. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, that's Barry F. and Gibb. Never mind. But anyway, so one of the original songs that, and when I say original, I don't mean my originals, I just mean a cover that I had originally put on this particular set, was Beverly Hills by Weezer. And kind of the whole idea of Beverly Hills really inspired this album, and there's something later that I'll talk about, a song of mine, but that, you know, was a little bit more directly inspired, but I kind of figured that while I was writing all of those songs, I would, you know, learn how to play Beverly Hills, because it just fits the theme really, really well. Now, the only thing that I don't like about this particular song is that normally my Weezer joke, when people ask, oh, what album is that on, I'll say their self-titled one. But this one was actually off of an album called Make Believe. And that was released in 2005, which kind of made me freak out last night when I was practicing and realized that song is 15 years old, which is how long I've had the same phone number for. But anyway, this is Beverly Hills by Weezer, and I hope you enjoy it. Where I come from isn't all that great. My automobile is a piece of crap. Fashion sense is a little whack. All my friends are as crazy as me. Didn't go to boarding schools. Preppy girls never looked at me. Why should they? I ain't nobody. Got nothing in my pocket. Beverly Hills, that's where I want to be. Living in Beverly Hills, Beverly Hills. Rolling like a celebrity. Living in Beverly Hills. Look at all those movie stars. They're so beautiful and clean. When the housemates scrub the floors, they get the spaces in between. I wanna live a life like that. I wanna be just like a king. Take my picture by the pool, 'cause I'm the next big thing in Beverly Hills. That's where I want to be. Living in Beverly Hills, Beverly Hills. Rolling like a celebrity. Living in Beverly Hills. The truth is, I don't stand a chance. It's something that you're born into, and I just don't belong. No, I don't. I'm just a no-good, beat-down fool, and I will always be this way. Might as well enjoy my life and watch the stars play. Beverly Hills, that's where I want to be. Living in Beverly Hills, Beverly Hills. Rolling like a celebrity. Living in Beverly Hills, Beverly Hills. Living in Beverly Hills. All right, and that was Beverly Hills by Weezer, one of my favorites. One of my absolute favorites. I want to give a quick shout out to Jacob Dunn, who is tuning in. He is a fabulous, fabulous rapper, and I've seen him at least a couple different open mics throughout town, and just really, really good. So hopefully when this is all over, you will get to hear him live. But that is that, and we will hopefully get to hear live music relatively soon, and do it safely as well. But that is that, and we will continue here with our set. So the first song that I wrote for what turned out to be Past the Mic, was a song called Time Warp Part 2. And it was initially going to be an instrumental. And the reason why it was called Time Warp Part 2 was because it was inspired by a Brad Paisley song called Time Warp that, just like Start a Band, just had phenomenal guitar that I could not, for the life of me, figure out, even with, a ton of practice. Maybe I could, but, just insane. And so it was supposed to be an instrumental like Time Warp. But then my guitar teacher, and he was producing my album as well, he said, well, yeah, you should write some lyrics for that song. And so I wrote some lyrics, and I think I probably had like 2 or 3 drafts that I was writing to this guitar part. And finally, there was one day that I was listening to a country station on this audio-only channel called Music Choice. And I saw it was a Jason Aldean song, and I can't remember what the song was, but it gave the artist name, which, as I said, was Jason Aldean. Then it gave the song title, which I can't remember, and then under album title, it just said Not Available. And I thought, man, that'd be a good name for a song. And so I wrote this song called Not Available. And I hope you like it. Before I do that, though, I'm going to play Louie Louie. And hopefully you can actually understand the lyrics. But I'm going to play Louie Louie Not Available and then Wild Thing as well. I hope you enjoy all three. Louie Louie, oh no, say you ain't gonna go. Yeah, said Louie Louie, oh no, say you ain't gonna go. A fine little girl who waits for me, I can just shimmer across the sea and sail that ship about all alone. Never know if I'll make it home. Louie Louie, oh no, say you ain't gonna go. Yeah, said Louie Louie, oh no, say you ain't gonna go. For nights and days I sail the sea, think of the girl who constantly. At night I dream that she is there. I smell the rose that's in her hair. Louie Louie, oh no, say you ain't gonna go. Yeah, said Louie Louie, oh no, say you ain't gonna go. Let's give it to him right now. See Jamaica, the stars above. It won't be long before I see me love and take her in my arms again. Say I'll never leave her again. Louie Louie, oh no, say you ain't gonna go. Yeah, said Louie Louie, oh baby, say you ain't gonna go. Say you ain't gonna go now. Say you ain't gonna go now. I'm not available right now. I just cannot face the ground. I can't do this today unless I know I'll get paid. I'm not here for the show. I can't see how you always go where I am going to go. I'm not available to you. Don't you know what I'm going through? I know you want to hear me play. I'm not available right here. I kinda want to disappear. I can't see how you need me to play so loud. I'm not available right now. I just cannot face the crowd. I'm not available right here. I kinda want to disappear. I'm not available to you. Don't you know what I'm going through? I know you want to hear me play. I'm not available to you. Don't you know what I'm going through? I know you want to hear me play. wild thing. You make my heart sing. You make everything groovy. Wild thing. Wild thing, I think I love you. But I wanna know for sure. Come on, hold me tight. You move me. Wild thing. You make my heart sing. You make everything groovy. Come on, wild thing. Wild thing, I think I need you. But I wanna know for sure. Come on, hold me tight. I need you. Alright, and that was the Not Available medley. And that included, like I said, of course, Not Available. It also included Wild Thing, which I just played, and Louie Louie before that. I've obviously made it no secret that Bob Dylan has been my biggest influence, but when I look back on this album, it was very rock and country influenced, and not that he, didn't have twinges of those as well, but it was definitely a lot of classic rock that I was talking about in a lot of these songs, or that I was, trying to emulate. So it was before I kind of had my Bob Dylan, Maroon 5 obsession in terms of who I am as a songwriter. And proof of that is this song right here. And you'll hear kind of an official decade dash, even though it's not really called that. But I came up with this idea for a song called Decade Dash, and what it was originally going to be is it was going to be a medley of 3 or 4 songs from 3 or 4 different decades, and just throw them together and call it a Decade Dash medley. I think the only reason why that didn't work out is because I was trying to do like Freebird, Every Rose Has Its Thorn, and I can't remember what the other one was. But since Every Rose Has Its Thorn was written in D, it was a little bit difficult to go from that to, to Freebird and whatever. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll just write my own song called Decade Dash and talk about how all of these different eras came together and melded into each other. So that was kind of the genesis of this song. And then a little bit later, when I was actually working out the set list versus just playing my individual songs, I came up with actually multiple medleys with these chords. For a while, I was messing around with Do Ya by Electric Light Orchestra, but the 2 main ones that I had in there were Baba O'Reilly by The Who, and then Never Let You Go by Third Eye Blind, which actually came in a little bit later, but that was, I think, probably 2011. I think it was actually, I can tell you for sure, it was November 5th of 2011. And two of the songs that I'm going to be playing in this set I actually learned on that same day, if I am remembering correctly. And so that is that. And this is my song called Decade Dash, original song. And I'm going to do it as a medley with those two songs that I just mentioned. Out here in the field, I fought for my meals and get mine back into my living. I don't need to fight to prove that I'm right. I don't need to be forgiven. Teenage wasteland. Oh yeah, it's only teenage wasteland. Teenage wasteland. Oh yeah, it's only teenage wasteland. Don't cry, don't raise your eye. It's only teenage wasteland. Sally, take my hand. We'll travel south across land. Put out the fire and don't look past my shoulder. The exodus is here. The happy ones are near. Let's get together before we get much older. Teenage wasteland. Oh yeah, it's only teenage wasteland. Teenage wasteland. Oh yeah, it's only teenage wasteland. They're all wasted. Back about 50 years, Elvis was the newest thing. But we also had lots of other people come and try to sing. 10 years later, a band called the Beatles came and sang some songs. It didn't make sense when we heard Hard Day's Night, but boy were we ever wrong. We were in a decade dash when those eras clashed. We were in a decade dash when the Who's guitars were smashed. Now it's the 70s, dude. Check out my fro. This feel-good era has got to go. But with bands like the Eagles and the Rolling Stones, it made you feel like you're right at home. We were in a decade dash when those eras clashed. We were in a decade dash when the Who's guitars were smashed. We were in a decade dash when those eras clashed. We were in a decade dash when the Who's guitars were smashed. How can you say no music today? These bands are old, but they're ready to play. How can you say it's not my style? Their records are still sweet, though it's been a while. guitars were smashed. We were in a decade dash when those eras clashed. We were in a decade dash when the Who's guitars were smashed. Every good reason for letting you go. She's sneaking smoke down and starting the show. I'll never let you go. I'll never let you go. I'll never let you go. I'll never let you turn around your back on each other. That's a good idea. Break a promise to your mother. Turn around your back on each other. Well, you say that I've changed. Well, maybe I did, but even if I changed, what's wrong with it? I'll never let you go. I'll never let you go. I'll never let you go. I'll never let you turn around your back on each other. That's a good idea. Break a promise to your mother. Turn around your back on each other. And all the friends are gone, gone. And all the friends are gone, gone. And all I know is it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. Well, if there's a reason, it's lost on me. Maybe we'll be friends. I guess we'll see. I'll never let you go. I'll never let you go. I'll never let you go. I'll never let you turn around your back on each other. That's a good idea. Break a promise to your mother. Turn around your back on each other. Alright, and that was Decade Dash, bookended by Baba O'Reilly by The Who, and Never Let You Go by Third Eye Blind. We skipped the 80s there, but that was a Decade Dash of sorts because my song was written in 2007. We started off with 1971, and then Never Let You Go was, I believe, 97 or 98. When that was released. A couple more shout-outs. I want to give shout-outs to my friend Yuvia. She is a college friend of mine, and I appreciate you for tuning in. And Pamela Walker, I appreciate you for tuning in as well. This is a really cool set for me because it's my oldest set of music, at least that I've continued to do and all of that. Although I don't play out all the songs all that much anymore. I don't play out anything anymore because of COVID. But this is my oldest set of songs. So what's really cool is that I have two Memphis friends that are tuning in, and I have one of my college friends who's tuning in. I'm sure some of my high school friends will tune in later, and I know my parents and some of my friends back home will as well. But this, as I was typing out the description saying, thanks for all the support over the past 13 years, the thing that hit me is that I'm going to be 28 in November. And so this Pass the Mic album, even though it was released and finished, I guess, 10 years ago, it's really been longer than that. It's been, a 13 or 14 year journey, in terms of recording and promoting and all of that. And that's just one of the cool things about songwriting is that you write a song and you can just go back to it anytime you want because it's yours for life. And so I really appreciate all of the different types of people who are tuning in, the people from different points in my life who have heard these songs at various points and support me in that regard. So I really do appreciate that. This next song is a song called "Keep You Rocking All Day." And there's going to be a slight modification from what you hear on the album version because when I was, first starting off in music, I knew Bob Dylan was from Minnesota, but I just kind of assumed that he was from St. Paul like me, since we're pretty much the same person. I just figured, and so there's a line in that on the studio recording that says he sure can rock, no doubt at all, because he grew up right here in St. Paul. And first of all, I'm not here in St. Paul, I'm here in Memphis. And secondly, he didn't grow up in St. Paul. And so I changed that lyric slightly. But the real place where this song started, so my third concert, probably fourth concert actually, was seeing Brad Paisley at the Minnesota State Fair with my cousin Spence. And he played this song that had some line about chicken in it, and it just fascinated me. I just love hearing lyrics like that I'm like, wait a second, and they just kind of get your attention. And so this was actually before I had the album that was on, but that's what he was promoting at the time, Fifth Gear. And so when I bought the album, I went back and I listened to it. And sure enough, the line was when little Jimmy Dickens brought the fried chicken and 100-gallon keg of beer. And so I did this modification of it in my song, and you're going to hear that in a couple minutes. So that's that, and that's actually one of two examples of Brad Paisley songs where something kind of funny has gone on with the lyrics, even without me realizing it, channeling what he was trying to do. But also around this time when I, back in the day when I only had about 30 cover songs that I knew how to play, I was working out the chords for Jane Says, and I, did it kind of like that. And, then as I was working out these chords for Keep You Rocking All Day, I thought, ooh, there's a little bit of Jane Says in that I'm hearing, just, playing them with bar chords. And so I started working it out and worked it out further and further and further, and listened to the kettle whistle version so I could get a little bit of that live feel to it. I wish I had somebody to play steel drums for me, because that's what makes that recording for me. But this is Jane Says and Keep You Rockin' All Day, and I hope you enjoy it. And actually, before I dive into that, I do want to go back and just tell one quick story about Decade Dash that I completely forgot about, but I knew I wanted to tell it. So in that third verse, you hear something that says, in that third verse, it's the line about the Eagles. With bands like the Eagles and the Rolling Stones, it made you feel like you're right at home. So I had something, I think it was like, it proved that these years were pretty good or something like that. Didn't rhyme. That's essentially what I'm trying to get at. And so my guitar teacher was, kind of helping me with co-writing and all of that. And he's like, well, you gotta have something that rhymes. So we're going through, what rhymes with Stones. And my guitar teacher just looks at me and he goes, what about it proves they didn't need Brian Jones? And I'm like, we can't say that because he died at I think it was a drug overdose at the age of 27. And so we can't say that. That's making me laugh for sure. But it always goes in the liner notes as what could have been. But that was just one of those things. So anyway, this is Jane Says, and speaking of drugs, and also Keep You Rockin' All Day. Hope you enjoy both of them. Jane says, I'm done with Sergio. He treats me like a rag doll. She hides the television. Says I don't owe him nothing, but it becomes back again. Tell him wait right here for me. Trying again tomorrow. I'm gonna kick tomorrow. Gonna kick tomorrow. Now Jane says, have you seen my wig around? I feel naked without it. She knows they all want her to go, but that's okay, 'cause she don't like them anyway. But Jane says I'm going away to Spain when I get my money saved. Gonna start tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna kick tomorrow. Gonna kick tomorrow. She gets mad and starts to cry, and she take a swing, man, but she can't. She don't mean no harm. She just don't know what else to do about it. Jane goes to the store at 8. She walked on St. Andrews. She waits and gets a dinner there. She pulls her dinner from her pocket, but Jane says, I've never been in love. I don't know what it is, only know that someone wants her. I want them if they want me. I only know they want me. She gets mad and starts to cry. She take a swing, man, but she can't. She don't mean no harm. She just don't know what else to do about it. Jane says, now we're listening to bands supported by the fans. How can you not like this? When Big Leonard Skinner brought the chicken dinner, then the band started to play. We've got Dwayne and Greg all in who really found their calling, playing for the fans all day. These bands will knock your socks off. They sure know how to rock, and they'll keep you rocking on day. With everything they've got, they'll get you to rock. Bob Dylan sang some great songs. He was awesome too. When he started singing Tangled Up in Blue, he sure can rock, and that's the truth, because he grew up way up in Duluth. These bands will knock your socks off. They sure know how to rock, and they'll keep you rocking all day. With everything they've got, they'll get you to rock. These bands are sweet, no one else can come me. We've got them, I don't know where we would be. They're awesome, there's no doubt in my mind, and we can still listen to them all the time. Socks up, they sure know how to rock, and they'll keep you rocking all day. With everything they've got, they'll get you to rock. They'll get you to rock. They'll get you to rock. These bands will knock your socks off. They'll get you to rock. They sure know how to rock. They'll get you to rock. They'll keep you rocking all day. They'll get you to rock with everything they've got. All right, and that was Gene Says, paired with Keep You Rockin' All Day. That was a favorite of when we were on the verge of actually finishing this album, but it was the summer of 2010 when I was down in Venezuela. And that was one of the songs that people really, really latched onto, and that was a really, really good thing. Cool. So next we're going to play the title track, which was inspired by two things. Number one, first and foremost, Hell Yeah by Montgomery Gentry. And secondly, Keep Your Hands to Yourself by Georgia Satellites. That was the inspiration rhythmically. And if you listen to the studio version, there's a little bit of a CCR influence in there as well. But like I said, initially it was inspired by Hell Yeah by Montgomery Gentry. And so I'm going to play that too. But just kind of talking about that, Hell Yeah is about a couple of people who just kind of life gets them down, and the only time that they feel like they're ever worth anything is when they're playing music on the weekends, and are doing like live band karaoke or something like that. And so it's one of those things. It's a pretty universal feeling, and definitely something that I started to feel, especially in my first year of teaching. But I'm going to play that, and then I'm going to play Pass the Mic, and then I'm going to do Taking Care of Business as well by Bachman Turner Overdrive. So I hope you enjoy all three of those. He works way too much for way too little. He drinks way too early till way too late. He hasn't had a race since New Year's Day. A meeting gets trampled on by everyone except when he comes in here. He's a product of the haggard generation. He's got a rock and roll side when you get him agitated. Got a pride hook he's proud he took for his right wing stand on me, and then says he lost his brother there. He goes up to the band, said no, and Bruce Springsteen and stage, and he starts to scream. And he said, hell yeah, sounds good, right on. Hell yeah, sounds good. Sing that song, guitar man playing all night long. Take me back to where the music hit me. Life was good, love was easy. Got an MBA in a plush corner office. She got a don't mess with me attitude. She'll lose the deal, she won't reveal that she gave me the loneliness, the emptiness, except when she comes in here. She's a product of the mean generation. She got a rock and roll side when you get her agitated. She got the tattoo there on her derriere from a spring break there in Panama, when love was all she thought she'd ever need. She yells out to the band, knowing in Bruce Springsteen, and it's on the stage, and she starts to scream. And she says, hell yeah, sounds good, right on. Hell yeah, sounds good. Sing that song, guitar man played all night long. Take me back to where the music hit me. Life was good, love was easy. Yeah, yeah, anything to get my mind off thinking back. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Hey, hell yeah. Hell yeah, sounds good, right on. Hell yeah, alright. Sing that song, guitar man playing all night long. song. Take me back to where the music hit me. Life was good. Hell yeah, sounds good. Right on. Hell yeah, sounds good. Sing that song. Guitar man playing all night long. Take me back to where the music hit me. Life was good, love was easy. Don't give me no hokey pokey. I just need some rock and roll karaoke. I need a good song to keep me going. Now let's keep this music flowing. I wanna hear some American Pie. I don't want that music to die. I wanna listen to the Grateful Dead and get that music stuck in my head. When I was about 14, I showed up on the local karaoke scene. They'd say you'll break a few windows today. I said at least I'm not wearing a bad toupee. I dove up to the band and asked, can I sing a song, 'cause I'm up to the task. When they saw that I meant what I said, they said, son, you get that thought out of your head. I don't put up a fight. I just pass the mic. I rock you all night. When you pass the mic. I don't put up a fight. I just pass the mic. I rock you all night. When you pass the mic. 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 You wake up every morning to the alarm clock's warning. Take the 8:15 into the city, and there's a whistle up above, and people pushing, people shoving, and the girls they try so hard to look pretty. And if your train's on time, you can get to work by 9 to start your slaving job to get your pay. Well, if you ever get annoyed, look at me, I'm self-employed. I love to work at nothing all day, and I've been taking care of business every day, taking care of business Every way I'll be taking care of business. It's on mine, taking care of business and working overtime, work out. If it was simple as fishing, you could be a musician. You could make music loud and mellow. Get a second-hand guitar, chances are that you'll go far if you get in with the right bunch of fellows. See us lying in the sun, we are only having fun, and you know that we like it this way. It's the work that we avoid, and we all are self-employed. We love to work at nothing all day, and we'll be taking care of business every day. Taking care of business every way. We'll be taking care of business. It's on mine, taking care of business and working overtime, work out. You get up every morning to the alarm clock's warning, take the 8:15 into the city, and there's a whistle up above and people pushing, people shoving, and because they try so hard to look pretty. And if your train's on time, you can get to work by 9 to start your slaving job to get your pay. Well, if you ever get annoyed, look at me, I'm self-employed. I love to work at nothing all day, and I'll be taking care of business every day. Taking care of business every way. We'll be taking care of business. It's on mine, taking care of business and working overtime, work out. All right, and that was, hell yeah, Pass the Mic and Taking Care of Business. Couple of notes about Pass the Mic. I already said what initially inspired it was that Montgomery Gentry song. But first of all, how it even came about, well, okay, let's back all the way up. So I had been bugging my guitar teacher for years to get some recording software so we could record. And initially it was going to be called Drop the Mic or Dropping the Mic, one of the two. And it was going to be some originals, some covers, all of that stuff. But then we scrapped that idea. We ended up doing all original songs. And my guitar teacher, Matt Prudell, came up with the idea for Pass the Mic, because he just kept on calling it that. And I'm like, all right, yeah, it's better anyway. So I wrote the title track. And the title track came to me when we were in Florida in 2008. So it was my freshman year of high school, spring break. And we're watching the sunset, and it was just this incredibly beautiful sunset. And like right as the sun started going down, I came up with this idea. And so like everybody was kind of like, all right, yeah. Nice sunset, you know, enjoying it, and just like, oh yeah, let's gaze in the moment. And I'm like, you know what? No, I gotta head back in, because I just came up with this great idea. And that was before I had a phone where I had notes on my, you know, like the notes app or whatever. So I couldn't exactly just like write it down and save it for later. I had to have it in my head there. And so that was the genesis of that particular song. And it's funny because I was telling my friend Amber about this, and she said, well, what'd you call it? Did you call it Florida Sunset? And I said, no, it was called Pass the Mic. And she's like, of course it was, because it had nothing to do with the sunset. It was just like, you know, I don't know what it was that triggered that in my mind, but the, you know, first line of Don't Give Me No Hokey Pokey. But it was funny because I think I had a more complicated chorus than that. And so my guitar teacher kind of, said, well, let's, make it a little bit more simple. But then he's also the one, I can't remember what we had there before after the you'll break a few windows today, but he came up with the idea for what if you told the guy at the karaoke bar, at least I'm not wearing a bad toupee, because he wouldn't let you sing. Like, it's neither here nor there, but it's just hilarious and makes you feel better. So like, it doesn't matter what I had before, because that was a much better line, clearly. And that just always makes me laugh when I think about it. And I think there are like only like two or three other songs, or two or three other albums out of the coming up on 93 that I have completed that actually have a title track. It might be a few more than that, but it's very, very rare, because usually I take lines from other songs and make them into an album title, and so those don't lend themselves well to title tracks for legal reasons. But you can't copyright a title. You can copyright lyrics, but not a title. So that is that. Now, of course, that didn't quite work out. Trying for that record deal and trying to get discovered singing karaoke. So that didn't quite work out. But this next song describes that. It's a blues song called "Past the Bluebird." And this is what I was talking about earlier, where this was like right around the time where we had come to Memphis and Nashville and all that stuff, and the Memphis influences that'll show up later. But we were at the Bluebird Cafe, my dad and grandpa and I were 13 years ago. And as we were waiting in line, we were talking with somebody who said, oh yeah, Emmylou Harris was here the other day, seeing a friend of hers play. And so my dad and I were talking about that, a little while later. And, and I said, oh yeah, and remember there was that woman there who, said that Emmylou Harris played at the Bluebird a couple nights ago. And my dad said, no, she didn't play there. She was just supporting a friend. And I said, yeah, that's right. She's way past the Bluebird. And so that was the genesis of that song, writing a song called "Past the Bluebird." Now, I do want to point out that this is before the TV show Nashville. And so now the Bluebird is just a gigantic tourist trap. But still, it's a very sought after venue. Everybody who's somebody has to play there. The only reason why I made it into I should be well past that is that it's a pretty small venue. So the idea was that I was going to be selling out venues, which hasn't happened either. But that was the genesis of that song, and I still haven't even played the Bluebird, so I guess baby steps. But this is "Past the Bluebird," and I hope you enjoy it. Well, I didn't get signed to a record deal, so now I'm meeting Happy Meals. American Idols are doing better than me. They're selling gold and platinum CDs. Now I'm sitting in, wondering how that works, when most of the winners are untalented jerks. I've gotta find a way to get past the Bluebird Cafe. Well, I can still write awesome songs, so pass the mic and we'll all get along. I got my guitar, I learned how to play, I wrote some good tunes, so I won't go away. I gotta find a way to get past the Bluebird Cafe. I'll just ignore what occurred and keep trying to play like Skinner. Selling out stadiums is what I wanna do, rather than playing some unknown venue. I've gotta find a way to get past the Bluebird Cafe. I don't care what they say, I'll get past the Bluebird Cafe, yeah, 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 yeah. All right, and that was Past the Bluebird. Hope you enjoyed that. Like I said, that was kind of the influence of being in the Nashville and Memphis area. That was kind of fresh in my mind, the Three Amigos road trip, and so I, kind of started writing about that after a conversation with my dad. Now, going back even further, about 13 years ago, my mom was hosting book club, and she, because she was hosting, I was kind of relegated to the basement or my room, and so I would kind of run back and forth and all of that, and I had my very first songwriting notebook, and actually wrote this song called Mr. Policeman, because couldn't really do anything else, so I'm just going to write songs, and that's exactly what I did, and Mr. Policeman came out. Now, the irony of all this is that I wrote this years before getting my driver's license. Like, I didn't get my driver's license until 2015, and I wrote this song in 2008, and it actually had nothing to do with the police, but I guess to keep the lore going. That was that. It was just, I was a terrible driver and still am. But this one was the other one that I was telling you about that was inspired by a Brad Paisley song. His song was also called Mr. Policeman. And at some point in the early draft of the song, I had a line in there saying the cops are getting donuts or something along those lines. And my guitar teacher was like, yeah, you might not want to put that in there. And still, like, especially due to recent events, I feel like that'd be kind of fun to throw in. But that is just something that we decided to scrap. So anyway, years later, I was listening to the Brad Paisley song, and Mr. Policeman, which I had heard live the first time, and he had this whole video that went with it, animated his band running from the cops and all of that good stuff, right? And so years later, I hear the Brad Paisley song again, and sure enough, there's a line in there that says, "There's no way you're keeping up with me, just go on back to Krispy Kreme." So I'm like, okay, well, he did it, I could have done it too, but whatever. So Mr. Policeman is one of those songs that even though, like I said, I've outgrown most of the songs on Pass the Mic. This is one of those songs that everybody requests, and my friend Sachi in Memphis loves it. My friend Joe Miley loves it, and so this is one of those songs that everybody kind of can get behind it. Speaking of people getting behind my music, I want to give some more shout outs to Richard Wilson, fabulous singer-songwriter in Memphis. And then Andrew Cabillo, another fabulous singer-songwriter in Memphis who also produces my albums here in town. That is awesome to have you guys tuning in. I hope you guys are doing well. So this is Mr. Policeman, and this is one of those songs that isn't necessarily super based on the concept, but maybe you can think of it as like, you know, I got so mad that I didn't get a record deal that I burned a building down in Nashville or something like that, you know. You know, just do with that what you will. But this is Mr. Policeman. Yeah, I should pull over, but this high-speed chase feels so good. I smell something steaming, I should check under the hood. I hear someone screaming that the cops are in command. You should just pull over, there's no need to make a stand. It feels so good, no one can really steer. I make my one call saying get me out of here. They're chasing me through snow and desert sand. I say try and catch me, Mr. Policeman. Well, I'm wanted all around, but I don't really care. You see me speeding down the road and say go get him, he's over there. They say they're gonna catch me, they can chase me around all night. If they harm me, I'm in jail, I won't go down without a fight. It feels so good, no one can really steer. I make my one call saying get me out of here. They're chasing me through snow and desert sand. I say try and catch me, Mr. Policeman. When running on the law, it's fun all the time. But how the heck am I supposed to pay all these fines? I'm ready for parole, I'll get up if I can, so I can start running all over again. It feels so good, no one can really steer. I make my one call saying get me out of here. I see them closing in on my rearview mirror, but I leave them in the dust as I shift to higher gears. They're chasing me through snow and sand. I said they're chasing me through snow and sand. I say try and catch me, Mr. Policeman. They're chasing me through snow and desert sand, Mr. Policeman. All right, and that was Mr. Policeman. I think I brought this up when I played that song, actually in my very first live stream in March. That there's a portion of that song that the main portion of it was inspired by Brad Paisley, but the snow and desert sand line was actually inspired by a line in Valley Winter Song by Fountains of Wayne. There's a line there that says, though the interstate is choking under salt and dirty sand, and it seems the sun is hiding from the moon. Slightly different feel to that song than my song, but just one of those things. Yeah. So, next we are going to do another crowd favorite. This is a song. Oh, and by the way, I just want to talk about Mr. Policeman really quick. When, that song, I wrote it in like 2007. Another one when we were in Venezuela, that was a very, very popular one. And there's probably a video of this somewhere, but I sang that song a cappella, and one of my Venezuelan friends beatboxed to it, and it was the coolest thing in the world. So that's like kind of a cool remix type deal. And then the other cool version of that I played, my friend Andrew Cease plays the violin, and he joined me at some point for an open mic night at the Claudia Cafe in St. Paul. And he played violin over that particular song, including a really cool solo at the end. So that's one of those songs that I keep on meaning to re-record it with him, to get that violin in there, because it just sounded so freaking cool. But we'll figure it out. Actually, I was thinking I'd do it for the 10th anniversary, and then all of a sudden it snuck up on me, and I'm like, well, no, that didn't happen. But maybe for the 15th. So that is going to be that. The one thing that I did, I had this vision of doing a 10th anniversary, and the one thing that I did do, actually, that I did see through, was make it into an acoustic set, because Alanis Morissette did that with Jagged Little Pill. And so I thought that was a really cool idea, and I thought, hey, I'm going to do that for the 10th anniversary, and so, boom, here we are playing acoustic again. But that is that. So anyway, this next song is a crowd favorite as well. Maybe not this crowd, you guys can let me know, but this is a song called Record Deal, and if I am, yes, I am remembering that correctly. I actually believe that I wrote this song when we were going down to Northfield to visit my grandparents, and I had written this one. I actually lost my songwriting notebook, and so I started a new one, and so I think this one was one of the first ones on that second songwriting notebook. But this is Record Deal, and I hope you enjoy it. As I go into the studio, they said, you'll never get this, you know. I told them I'm not giving up yet. They said you might as well, because our minds are set. Ooh, I need a record deal. They said, go back to your mom. I wonder how she would feel. I'm eating from the dollar menu every meal, just because I didn't get a record deal. I thought I'd be playing for a big crowd and making everybody scream out loud, going to the Grammys or rockin' Tokyo. But now I'm cruising down the street in my Aveo. Ooh, I need a record deal. They said, go back to your mom. I wonder how she would feel. I'm eating from the dollar menu every meal, just because I didn't get a record deal. Sun Records in Memphis, USA. I've got one more shot, or it's gone like yesterday. I think I can do it, but I guess we'll see. 'Cause if they signed Elvis, then they'll have to sign me. Ooh, I need a record deal. They said, go back to your mom. I wonder how she would feel. I'm eating from the dollar menu every meal, just because I didn't get a record deal. Record deal, record deal, record deal. Man, I gotta get a record deal. Record deal, record deal, record deal. Just because I didn't get a record deal. Record deal, record deal. Man, I gotta get a record deal. Record deal, a record record deal. Man, you gotta get me that record deal. Alright, and that was Record Deal. And that was one that a lot of my songs you can kind of point to and say, like, okay, yeah, I was inspired by this, or this. That song, I just wanted to write a song called Record Deal, and so I did. That is that. I wasn't as big an Elvis fan back then as I am now, but it's still a good idea that, they signed Elvis. They have to sign you too, right? Because, what has Elvis got that I don't have besides the ability to dance and sing, all that. I can write better songs than Elvis could, I guess. I got that. But anyway, so that was kind of the Memphis influence creeping in there, referencing Sun and all of that. There were some other tracks in between. I'm kind of playing some out of order. There were a total of 11 tracks on Pass the Mic, and only 9 of them were original because I did a cover of Stayin' Alive and then a Decade Dash remix that was inspired by Run DMC. It's pretty darn cool if you check it out on Spotify and iTunes and all of that good stuff. You can definitely do that. Unlike some of the other songs that I've been playing, you can actually check this one out. Get me my 0.06 cents. But you can check that out. So this next one is a favorite of my buddy Pat Gavin, and this is a song called New Songs, and I hope you enjoy it. I asked them, what do you think? They said it really stinks. This isn't gonna get on the radio. I said, you don't know what you're missing, bro. Putting on this junk would be just wrong. You gotta get yourself some new songs. If you wanna help your career, you'd better get your butt in gear. New songs, I need some new songs. Even though it might take all night, I'm gonna write some new songs. Wow, that really hurt, but I still hope that this works. I thought my record deal would be like that. I'd be playing at the next Woodstock, but I lost it all really quick. 'Cause no one liked my music. They told me no as I walked through the door. And when I started playing, they said, don't play no more new songs. I need some new songs. Even if it takes all night, I'm gonna write some new songs. New songs. I need some new songs. Even if it takes all night, I'm gonna write some new songs. I thought my career was going nowhere fast. They slammed doors in my face, how long can this last? My friends didn't believe me, but now it's a fact. I can show them my big fat recording contract. Yes, I wrote some new songs. My record deal's here and I proved them wrong. Now I'm in Beverly Hills where I belong. And it's all thanks to my new songs. I'm living the life of a superstar. Traded in my mail for a cooler car. They gave me that record deal. Now I'm not eating any more Happy Meals. New songs. I wrote some new songs. Even though it took all night, I'm glad I wrote some new songs. New songs. I wrote some new songs. Even though it took all night, I'm glad I wrote some new songs. I'm glad I wrote some new songs. I'm glad I wrote some new songs. All right, and that was new songs. When we were recording those songs for that particular album, Pass the Mic, it took us probably about a month or maybe two to finish each of them. And as we were getting ready to record vocals, I knew that I needed a bridge, and so, or either a bridge or actually I think it was a third verse more likely. And so I remember writing the last part of that song while watching the Kentucky Derby in April of some year or another, probably 2009 or 2010, something like that. And so that is kind of a fun fact about that particular song. But like I said, my friend Pat Gavin loves that one, and it's one of my favorites too. Not based on a true story, but that was the one that I mentioned earlier that was kind of inspired by Beverly Hills. There are also a couple of in-references there, like inside jokes with my family. So when we were in California a handful of years ago, they told us which spot our rental car was parked in, and so we're like, oh, well, this will be interesting. We're going to be, they said it's a red car and it's parked in this spot, and we're like, okay, well, it's going to, be this one that'll be interesting to drive around a Hummer for a week. And so we look at this big old Hummer, and all of a sudden, we're like, wait a minute, that's not our spot. That's our spot. And it's this little Chevy Aveo, which they don't even make anymore. They rebranded it as a Chevy Sonic and charged like, $2,000 extra for it, which is just stupid. But that was that. So I referenced Aveos at least a couple of times in that particular song. So we are all done with that Pass the Mic storyline. And so what we are going to do is I have one more song on the record, and that is Suite 1202. And this particular song was, first of all, inspired by Foreplay and Long Time, specifically the Long Time version of it, or the Long Time portion of it, I should say, by Boston. But the genesis of the song itself, in terms of, what I wrote it about, it's an instrumental suite, and the reason why I did that was the person who I wrote it for, I was writing her a bunch of songs, and she wasn't really she liked them. She said she liked them. She's like, oh, that's very sweet. But then it wasn't really going anywhere. And so, there was that I was kind of pouring my heart out. The ballads that I was writing, I was like, okay, they're really cheesy. I don't like those. So let me write you a song that doesn't have any lyrics. And so what I did was I didn't want to use the person's name in the song, and still I never want to do that, because then if something bad happens, like in this particular case, it doesn't work out, then it's like, oh, well, I can't play that anymore. So what I ended up doing was I ended up naming it after her high school graduation year, which was 2012, and then the 02 was her number in volleyball, and so that's how I came up with that name. This was the same person who years later I had a dream about, that she just stood around while I was inside my house as it was burning. So she fell rather quickly. But this is Foreplay, Long Time. I'm just going to call it that, even though it's just the Long Time portion of it, and Suite 1202. And then Suite 1202, I forgot to mention, is going to be paired with Medley NH4, which was written, it was written by some other artists. They're not original songs, but it kind of chronicles the rise and fall of a relationship, and I dedicated that to the person who rejected me for prom junior year, also 10 years ago, and she burned in hell. So this is Foreplay Long Time, Medley NH3, or I'm sorry, Medley NH4, and Suite 1202. By the way, those are also her initials, the person I asked to prom. It's been such a long time, I think I should be going, yeah. But time doesn't wait for me, it keeps on rolling. Sail on a distant highway, yeah. I gotta keep on chasing my dream, I gotta be on my way. Wish there was something I could say. Now I'm taking my time, I'm just moving on. You'll forget about me after I've been gone. Now I'll take what I find, I don't want no more. It's just outside of your front door, oh, yeah, yeah. It's been such a long time, it's been such a long time. Oh, I get so lonely when I am without you, yeah. But in my mind, deep in my mind, I can't forget about you, yeah. It's a long road, I gotta stay in time with. I gotta keep on chasing my dream, or I may never find it. I'm always just behind it. Now I'm taking my time, I'm just moving on. You'll forget about me after I've been gone. Now I'll take what I find, I don't want no more. It's just outside of your front door, oh yeah, yeah. It's been such a long time, it's been such a long time. Just moving on. We'll walk above the water, we'll rise above the mess with a little peace and some harmony. We'll take the world together, we'll take him by the hand, 'cause I got a hand for you, I got a hand for you, because I wanna run with you. Yesterday I saw you standing there. Your head was down, your eyes were red. No comb and touched your hair. I said, get up and let me see you smile. We'll take a walk together, we'll walk the road a while, 'cause I got a hand for you, I got a hand for you, because I wanna run with you. Hold my hand, want you to hold my hand, hold my hand. I'll take you to a place where you can be. Hold my hand, anything you wanna be, because I wanna love you the best that I can. You see, I was wasted, and I was wasting time, till I thought about your problems, I thought about your crimes. Then I stood up, and then I screamed aloud, I don't wanna be one of your problems, don't wanna be part of your crowd, no. But I got a hand for you, I got a hand for you, because I wanna run with you. Won't you let me run with you now? Hold my hand, want you to hold my hand, hold my hand. I'll take you to the promised land, hold my hand. Maybe we can change the world, but I wanna love you the best that I can. Oh. Sitting on a bench in West Town Bar, he sat down in his overalls and asked me, you waiting on a woman? I nodded yes, said how about you? He said, son, since 1952 I've been waiting on a woman. When I picked her up for our first date, I told her I'd meet there at 8, and she came down the stairs at 8:30. She said, I'm sorry that I took so long, didn't like a thing that I tried on. Let me tell you, son, she sure looked pretty. Yeah, she'll take her time, 'cause you don't mind waiting on a woman. He said the wedding took a year to plan, You talk about an anxious man. I was nervous, waiting on a woman. Then he nudged my arm like old men do. He said, I'll say this about the honeymoon. It was worth it, waiting on a woman. And I don't get sweeping anywhere. She hasn't made us late, I swear. Sometimes she does it just 'cause she can do it. Oh, it's just a fact of life. It'll be the same with your young wife. You might as well go on and get used to it. Yeah, she'll take her time, 'cause you don't mind waiting on a woman. I've read somewhere statistics show the man's always the first to go. And that makes sense, 'cause I know she won't be ready. So when it finally comes my time and I get to the other side, I find myself a bench. If they got any, I hope she takes her time, 'cause I don't mind waiting on a woman. Honey, take your time, 'cause I don't mind waiting on a woman. I saw her today at the reception, a glass of wine in her hands. I knew she was gonna meet her connection. At her feet was a footloose man. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. Oh yeah. And I went down to the demonstration to get my fair share of abuse, singing we're gonna break our frustration, and if we don't, we're gonna blow a 50 amp fuse. Sing it to me. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, well, you just might find you get what you need. Oh yeah, you get what you need. Oh yeah. And I went down to the Chelsea drugstore to get your prescription filled. I was standing in line with Mr. Jimmy, and man, did he look pretty ill. We decided that we would have a soda. My favorite flavor, cherry red. I sung my song to Mr. Jimmy, and he said one word to me, and that was dead. I said to him, you can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. Oh yeah. Get what you need. I saw her today at the reception. In her glass was a bleeding man. She was practiced at the art of deception. Well, I could tell by her blood-stained hands. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, well, you just might find you get what you need. Oh yeah, you get what you need. Oh yeah. If I leave it tomorrow, would you still remember me? For I must be traveling on now, 'cause there's too many places I've got to see. But if I stayed here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. 'Cause I'm as free as a bird now. this bird you cannot change. And this bird you cannot change. And this bird you cannot change. Babe, it's been a sweet love, yeah, and though this a feeling I can't change, but please don't take it so badly, 'cause the Lord knows I'm to blame. But if I stayed here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. 'Cause I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change. And this bird you cannot change. The Lord knows I can't change. Lord, help me, I can't change. Lord, I can't change. Won't you fly? Free bird, yeah. All right, and that was the epic medley of Foreplay Long Time, paired with Sweet 1202, Waiting on a Woman, You Can't Always Get What You Want, and Freebird, and I forgot to put in Hold My Hand, because that's the first part of medley NH4. I had to plug up my computer, so that's why there was that little pause with Waiting on a Woman, and You Were Waiting on Me. But I really appreciate all of you guys who tuned in, and who are going to watch this not live. I really do appreciate that. Like I said, I feel like I have better albums than my first album, but as my producer and friend Andrew Cabigo would say, your first album isn't supposed to be the best one, and it certainly wasn't. But it's got some songs that are very near and dear to my heart, and just going back, looking at how long it's been and how many people have heard these songs, listened to these songs, and some of them actually liked these songs. I just really, really appreciate that. And this is, like I said, this is my oldest set. And so there are a lot of people who have heard these particular songs that maybe haven't heard some other ones that are a little bit more recent. So whenever you came in into the journey of my music, I appreciate you listening to Pass the Mic. My recording of this predated me even being Minnesota Mike, and so I really appreciate those of you who kind of guided me after that into what I wanted to do, what my sound was, and all of that, but still appreciated kind of the experimentation, trying to find a sound here. And like I said, I just really, really appreciate it. So we're going to continue doing these live streams. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do next week. I think I'll probably do Faith, Hope, and Love, which is the last of the original 8. But definitely make sure that you guys stay tuned, because I know Facebook has changed some stuff. In terms of streaming, and so I'll definitely be still going on YouTube, but I might switch over to Twitch or something like that, so I'll get you guys all of those details that I'm sure you'll be dying to know. But I appreciate you guys. Stay safe out there, I will see you guys next week.